guys doing? This is your boy LA Not from Cali, and I will be giving you a brief history of hip hop. In this video, we definitely will be covering a couple of different things from just the shift in the hip hop industry, from the inception of what it was meant for to where it is now. So, of course, we wouldn't be able to do that without talking about the origin of where hip hop is from, which, of course, if you may not know, it was started off in the Bronx, New York City, early 1970s, and it began as, like it says, like a collaboration between Black, Latin, and Caribbean influence. Really was just a way that people from impoverished areas were able to utilize music as well as just different inventions that involve music, whether it be like a sound system or turntables. Shout out to DJ Kool Herc, which is one of the pioneers of hip hop. And it was just a way for people to get their voice out to the masses through music, through block parties, just different events where people were able to express themselves in a way to escape just the socioeconomic conditions that they were living through, specifically in New York, but this also spread across the nation and eventually globally to the world. As you can see, there's a lot of hip-hop pioneers there, but with the progression of artists and the way that they created, the actual process of the way music was recorded changed as well, which also sped up the process of creating and also had artists pivoting to the way that they create music as well.
Around, they didn't know that, so when I got the Def Jam Rockefeller, I became a monster. Yo, you need to do radio. Yo, why this ain't playing? Why this ain't going on? This, yo, move. This a closet? Nah, this an office. So niggas like, why I can't move around the business like that? Because they kind of been taken care of already. I've been jerked around, so I know who to talk to. And I didn't think they liked that too much. And because it wasn't just Rockefeller, no disrespect to Dame or Jay-Z or Biggs or none of that, because they were the label, but I started going over, not saying over their head, who Rockefeller is doing this. Now I'm going upstairs to Def Jam, Kevin Lowndes, Leo Cohen, Julie Greenwald, Kaiser. All right, Rockefeller's, but now I need the big homies to push the button. You know what I'm saying? That's the parent, well, they're a joint venture, but I consider them the parent company, even though it's a joint venture deal. And I started leaning on them niggas. They'll push the button, push the button. All right, niggas sitting in their office every day. Like.
So what was your strategy at Universal?
Well, the strategy was to fill it with urban music. I don't think a record company can really be successful without urban music, the roots of our music. And we had Death Row. We bought Def Jam. We acquired Cash Money. And just with those three companies, we probably had 45% of all the urban music in America. That was it. And then all the cool kids wanted to come with us.
Now, with that short excerpt from Cameron speaking on the infrastructure of the hip hop industry as a whole, it gives a more understanding as to not only why artists may take the time to punch in rather than write due to the process as well as the budgets that are allotted for a particular artist depending on their virality or their credibility or even just their promise in the amount of sales that they will be able to accrue when there's a release of a project. Because please understand, a lot of artists are not getting the same budget as artists that are widely known internationally or nationally, just due to the fact that they're not the biggest artists, you know? So that means they have less of a budget, which also sometimes correlates to meaning that they have less resources and time to record their music. So it makes sense why some artists might want to punch in rather than write music.
do you do when you get free time? Not to say you have a lot of free time.
I get by.
Okay.
Nah, I make music, man. When I'm not making music, I'm making music.
Okay.
So, from the course, the origin of hip hop, and technology had to keep up with the ongoing progression of how, the youth at that time, and as they grew older, grew with that particular genre of music, from the 1970s on forward to the 80s and 90s and so forth. The way that music was recorded also changed. So at first it was a lot of tapes being used and just different musical recording devices that were utilized to help with the process of recording music. And over time it just changed, which is why I feel like at the beginning you had more people that were writing because it was a part of the process, especially when they go on and record it. It made more sense to write. There was also more live bands and instrumentation, but as time progressed to the 90s and early 2000s, we had more digital recording that took place, which is why you had more artists like the Jay-Z's or the Lil Waynes that weren't necessarily writing everything down. They found it more advantageous to punch in, which is a style of recording where they go in and they're pretty much rapping off the top of their head.
You wait around for the inspiration. That's the thing that I had to cut out, because you can wait forever and nothing will ever come. And then when you come back, one of the main things I noticed in the process is like the trust you have in the things that you say or the things that want to be said, like the ideas that come to your mind and want to come out and they want to be written down. You second guess them because you haven't been in the momentum of trusting and seeing results. So that first line that comes, you're like, no, that's trash. No, I said some shit like that before. Nah, that's corny. Instead of just being like, yo, it's the first line. Write the shit down and trust that it'll lead you to the second line and to the third. You know what I mean? So like, I had to just start showing up.
And so this brings us to the shift in numbers. Now, as we can see, hip hop has always been high within the sales charts, but as of late, it's been a lot of Sabrina Carpenter, a lot of world and Latin and Afro beats music, and honestly, just a lot of hip hop artists, even notable and legends to say, have not necessarily been selling as much as they usually have. I mean, now, of course, streaming plays a huge role in this because it kind of changed the way that it went from units and CDs to actual streams. And of course, we know artists get paid less for streams. But also, there's been a lot less artist development, a lot less rollouts, just not as much backing, support, and marketing for artists of today and present time. So, as you can see, there's a lot more artists being way more successful in country, as well as just many other genres, from Afro beats, from Tyler, Burna Boy, and Wizkid, to honestly just a lot of more pop acts, K-pop acts, and overall just global music has been doing a lot better than R&B and hip hop. So it makes you wonder, what exactly can artists do? Well, one of the main things that's been affecting the sales, of course, is the Titanic Taylor Swift. But outside of her, well, really, I wouldn't say outside of her, because Drake said the only person I'm moving my day back is for her. But when you see more artists that was in an actual major label system switch to independent like a YG, they don't do as well in sales as they once did. So it makes you wonder, what exactly affects this decline that we see in hip hop sales. Now, something that spiked it, of course, was the Kendrick and Drake beef, and it kind of resurged hip hop and other artists that had great catalogs like Travis Scott. When he resold his mixtape Days Before Rodeo, it did extremely well when it came to sales. I think he did 361,000 to be exact. So
we have to talk about the impact of hip hop globally, and by globally, I mean like how hip hop is impacting the world in its totality.
There you go. Give me one more. Ah! Come on. 2 more. Just like that. You ready? Exactly. What the deal, everybody? My name Kendrick Lamar, and I'll be performing at Super Bowl 59. Will you be pulling up? I hope so. You know it's only one opportunity to win the championship. No round 2. Let's get it. Boom!
From it. Like I said, when I went out to these shows and I seen these kids saying, we live by your music and what you're talking about, that's something that you gotta accept. I can sit up here and talk slick all day on record, but who's gonna relate to it at the end of the day when they gotta go back to this crazy world and feel like they don't love themselves enough to stay humble and not, commit suicide? Who gonna make them records? Nobody. I don't see it. I don't hear it. So me being who I am and not being so much fearful of what the world think or what the industry standards is, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it, the way I've been doing it, regardless. It's a whole world out there, man, that believes in what you can do and what you can say. A lot of people have their own different niches, and you don't have to be a super lyricist or a storyteller. It can just be the energy you bring, and they believe in that. But the moment they feel like you don't believe in that no more, and you just going with the next trend, they don't believe in you no more. The culture don't believe in you no more. Stand behind what you do, and the world is gonna move by it.
A long list of these great super rappers that y'all talk about. Jay Electronica, Whoopty Wham Whamdy Whoop, all these great motherfucking rappers. Why these people ain't in the roles versus in the business and all of this shit? A lot of people who are great lyricists and great artists are overlooked. Big Crit, Starlito, Don Tripp, Pee Wee Longway, No Cap. Another artist named Russ. Kind of shameful to be so talented and so good at an art form, but they don't get the flowers that they deserve. And it's not even because of gatekeeping. It's just because we're living in a world now where things are about being more trendy than they are about being a great artist.
And to Sauce Walker's point, like they're again like the Complex Top 20 before 20, I think is a great example of artists being more trendy than being actual great lyrical artists. Because a lot of them artists that was on that chart don't deserve to be on that chart, in my opinion. And a lot of people's opinion, though. Not even just my opinion, because bro, I think people from the culture should be able to say these are people that represent the culture, lyrically can speak to what's going on within society, and also have changed the culture in a way where it's undeniable of their impact. But that's something for later. Back to, what I'm saying, this line right here. Of course, we got Snoop Dogg. Now, Snoop Dogg in the Olympics commentating, I think, just says so much of the impact of hip hop globally. Because who would have thought a young man from Long Beach, California, who started off making music about various different things that were reflections of his environment, where he came from, and the things that he had to go through to rise to the level of success that he has today, with all the brand deals that he had, with all of the other opportunities that he's been able to acquire from the success of his music. And one of those most recent and on a world stage is, again, like the Olympics, because I just think that's actually crazy. That's a world stage and they wanted him to commentate. And I think that just lets you know that the level of success that comes from being able to speak on a mic, on a beat, and create a certain level of production where your music can take you to heights never seen before, I think is actually is admirable, but it also just shows the impact of what hip hop can do and has done. So yeah, like it can't be denied. Like hip hop has done so much for the world and the culture, regardless of the bad rap that it gets at times. That doesn't speak to the testament of how hip hop has impacted the world, then I don't know what would, because it's an actual Olympic game where people are now going to go out in these next 4 years and try to better their skills as breakdancers so that they can have the opportunity to break dance in the Olympics, which is crazy. And again, just like this Anderson .Paak making a song for the Olympics, another guy from Cali, and of course he's with Gwen Stefani, who's a pop artist, but again, that just shows hip-hop, R&B, like soul has made it to the world stage, which again is just, who would have thought, you know, from the 1970s to now, this is where hip-hop would have progressed a culture of people from impoverished backgrounds to this level of success. It's just amazing. And again, being in WWE, which has a worldwide reach as a entertainment and sport program, like WWE is worldwide. So to see that they went out and RIP Takeoff, but they came out, Randy Orton came out with Amigos, is just like, it shows the impact of hip hop in different spaces. Because they didn't come out with Taylor Swift, they didn't come out with a rock band, they didn't come out with a country artist, they came out with the Amigos from Atlanta. And I guarantee Randy Orton is not from Atlanta. So yeah, it's just, again, it just speaks to the success and the impact of hip hop globally. Even into the political realm, which again is the origin of hip hop. It was used for people to use their voices in ways that they usually wouldn't have had the opportunity, but they used music and lyrics to speak to not only the environment they come from, but things that they felt should change. They used it to empower themselves, with artists like Public Enemy to Mos Def, to Kanye even. They've all used hip hop in a way to use it as a platform to speak against the disparities within America. And with that, we offered that use of freedom of speech to the rest of the world to be able to create music that empowers wherever they may come from. Even like NWA, as it used it to speak about the disparities of law enforcement within California. So the fact that Megan Thee Stallion is on the stage, of course she's endorsing Kamala Harris, but it's woman empowerment, you know what I'm saying, from a major artist, regardless of people's views on her attire, or had Kamala Harris pick somebody else. But Megan Thee Stallion has an incredible reach and an incredible impact within women empowerment in her community, from foundations she started to the fact that she graduated from college and empower more women to take their education seriously. So yeah, like hip hop is doing this big one. Now we have to speak on the hypercriminalization and hypersexualization in hip hop, because as much good as hip hop has done, it also has some things that, of course, it could work on.
put that Don Julio down and drink you some water, man.
And one of those things being Young Thug, YSL trial, because hip hop, most times artists speak on their environment and their upbringing and things that they've done, as it speaks to like their involvement within the streets or just the lifestyle that they lived, which oftentimes is when they're making some of the best music because they're most hungriest and when they want to get out of the space they're in. But oftentimes hip hop can influence the individuals that's listening to it to partake in things that might not necessarily be positive. And that's not to say, oh, hip hop influences kids to go do negative things, but in a sense, if you're listening to something in general, and they're talking about their experience and you resonate with that, it can allow the person who's listening to it that resonates with the music, it could reinforce their feelings of maybe I should do this. And that's not to say that that's right or wrong. Again, everybody has free will and they have the choice to make the right or wrong decision, and people know right from wrong. But that's some of the flack that hip hop has been receiving, and I think it starts with education, and I think it starts with parental guidance, because all hip hop isn't talking about killing, stealing, or anything that has to deal with any negative, acts or connotations. But this just happens to be one instance in where artist was living what he was saying over the beat, and he's dealing with the repercussions from his actions. Another instance in where an artist was living what they were speaking about, and this is more in line with the newer generation of artists or a new genre that started in the late, I'll say 2013s. I'll say 2013, maybe 2012. We'll just say later 2010s. Like when Chief Keef and them started dropping like Glory Boy, or just drill. I'll just say drill, because I don't want to just say like Chief Keef is the pioneer. He's one of the pioneers for sure, but he's not the only artist who was making drill music. And I think the impact of that in hip hop, the genre of drill, it became so, it assimilated, I think, into just like other, black culture, not just black culture. I think drill music assimilated into other black spaces, black environments, black societies, not only within America, but around the world, because there's people in London talking about their drill. There's people in Africa and Australia and Southern America, Mexico. Like, corridos is drill music for Spanish people, and they rapping, but they singing and rapping, and they talking about certain deeds, certain bad deeds, you know what I'm saying? And I hate that this happened to Julio Fulio, but he was living his music, and he essentially, suffered the consequences of his actions, because he was still in his hometown out there in Jacksonville, and he was into it with another artist, and yeah, it just came to his demise, which is unfortunate, being a young black male who had a lot of potential to use his music to get him out of the situation he was in. But I think oftentimes there's such a connection between artists wanting to be real and transparent through their music that they will allow themselves to be in the spaces that initially influenced them to make the music that might have made them more visible within different social mediums or within the genre of hip hop, because it's more authentic. When in actuality, it can oftentimes like put their light out or dim their light in their success before they're ever able to reach a certain level of success. And I think that's just due to, again, like, they want to stay true, but sometimes staying true to something that isn't the healthiest or the best thing can stop you right in your tracks, and you will never reach your full potential.
Put me off. Tell me I smell like weed. Watch this. Who gonna try to get married? You like I'm finna sit with your. They ain't coming to see you, Otis. Otis? You heard who they screaming for? Oh yeah. They put us out. I ain't gonna hop down on that. Oh, smash that ball.
Names for my lip gloss is something that nobody would have ever thought of. I got one called Nut, and it's the color of some nut. I got one called Gonorrhea. It's green like gonorrhea.
Got to back out saying that she wasn't serious, which is fine. But then she says she doesn't want to be known as the throat goat on the internet.
You want to find out real quick?
Yes. Can we?
I mean, y'all can leave. Y'all can. No, you can
right
find
now.
out.
Right now. You ready?
Right now?
Are you sure you ready?
I'm so serious.
Are you sure you ready?
Ain't you be just like I said, like you could I don't know, like as many as you want, and it's like if you want to sell you could do that, but it's like damn, in less than a minute with a 2-sentence conversation is wild. Like it's like I want better for you. I want better for you.
Now, from that, we have to pivot to the hypersexuality point, which speaks to artists like Sexy Red, Glorilla, Lotto, even Megan Thee Stallion at times. But definitely, like, a lot of female artists now have a tendency to make music that, in certain instances, some women feel like it's coining a negative and making it a positive because it's women empowerment, because they're taking the negative and putting the power in their own hands because they don't mind speaking on their own bodies, which in a sense I feel like it sexualizes themselves. But to them it's like, well, men have been talking about women in hip-hop for years, which they have, and sexualizing our bodies, but I think it's making women just kind of stop in there. And then this isn't all female artists or all women artists, because all female artists aren't just sexualizing their body and talking about their body parts and what they can do or what they can do to a man or a woman, but it's definitely become a very popular trend amongst female artists, because women who oftentimes do this or make the type of content, they have success, and the artist is going to be pushed more in the media because that's what sells. Sex sells. So, but in this particular instance, Sexy Red was denied performing at a school for an impromptu show, probably like a pep rally or something, because she smelled like weed. Now, for me, I think the fact that Sexy Red is not only a hypersexual content producing artist, but she also markets a lot of her music to kids, which I think doesn't make any sense, because it's essentially just like kids' minds are just not developed where they won't embody the things that they hear or see. They'll regurgitate it as a form of I guess it's like an innate behavior, because it's what they see. So they want to be what they see, essentially. And I don't think it's advantageous or positive for young girls or even young ladies who are in their teens to want to embody the lifestyle that Sexy Red talks about. Because what does that do for, and I'm specifically going to speak to the young black girls and young black ladies, or even, the Hispanics and Latinos, but like, what does that do for the women of your culture? It's not embodying anything positive of how to carry yourself as a young girl or a young lady, which is the issue with, I feel, her demographic even being children, because grown women shouldn't aspire to embody the character that Sexy Red promotes, in my opinion. It's not progressing them to be any better. She can't perform at a school because she smells like weed, but you also are going to perform for children, so why would you go smelling like weed? Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I guarantee people are buying the lip gloss, bro, but they don't. It's just a certain level of, I want to say self-respect, but I think it's just symbolic conditioning. Like, the young lady go out and buy the lip glosses. They don't care about the names of the lip glosses. They support an artist they like, and they're young ladies, so they're gonna want to wear the lip gloss. But if they don't have a good understanding of what it means to respect themselves and care for who they are, Sexy Red has songs that she said, F my baby daddy. You can, understand what the F means. But like, it's just not, it shows like there's a lack of family structure. Not saying that everybody just should be married. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. But you're raising your kids on your own. It speaks more and more to destroying the black family structure and saying, oh, black women should just be independent. And she's raising boys. So what does that say to the young boys that look up to her as a mother and then want to go out and maybe start a family? Or if they don't want to start a family, what type of women are they gonna attract or look to attract? I think all of that is I think all of those things are just things that you should like think about if you let your kid, son or boy or girl, son or daughter, listen to her music, because it's just programming them, honestly.
So listen, next pose right here, we're gonna put our feet on the tip-top corner of this mat. Bobby.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't know what that is.
You're not gonna cooperate?
That's not in regular yoga. That's not in regular yoga.
Okay, well just halfway do it then. You messing up my video.
Inappropriate.
You messing up my...
Can I get a couple of them $100 that you had? My wig coming off.
I'm gonna split one in half and it'll be $50.
So can I have the other 50?
Yes.
Okay.
$50 each. Can you put your feet up here?
I'm not doing that.
Okay. Make your bed. Tap back. Tap back. So you got him?
Yeah. This is just, again, speaking to the hypersexualization of not only women, because you have Sukiyana here. There was Bobby, who was like the little podcaster chick on there. She said she didn't want to be a part of it, which I think she has like kids and stuff like that as well, and I think she's married. Maybe she's not, I don't know, but she didn't want to be hypersexualized, of course, in this skit or this commercial by NLE Chopper called Trap Yoga, and I'm pretty sure it's for like him pushing like his past projects that are centered around like slut season or slut me out or things like that. But like he's sexualizing himself as a male. Now, oftentimes in hip hop, males have sexualized themselves, and it hasn't been a real conversation around it. Even like Lil Wayne and some cuts of, I want to say it was like just the old video, but he's saying like,
oh yeah, it's what?
15.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh my God.
You bet. I'm on the real. Cause I'm the real. I was at 11.
Niggas had children at
16. I had Nate at 15.
You know, he was having sex at like an early age with like grown women, and oftentimes in black male society, it's a badge of honor if you having sex early. I don't necessarily think that's the right thing to do, because like as a young man, you still getting to know yourself, understand yourself, your worth, your value. I think oftentimes men aren't correlating self-esteem and self-love to not allowing themselves to just sleep with whoever. Yeah, I think that's like a whole nother conversation, specifically just on like the black man and that within black culture. But a lot of that comes from like chattel slavery and the fact that a lot of people were just oftentimes like sexualized through slavery. But again, yeah, this speaks to the issue of hypersexuality in hip hop.
Had to back out saying that she wasn't serious, which is fine. But then she says she doesn't want to be known as the throat goat on the internet.
You want to find out real quick?
Yes. Can we?
I mean, y'all can leave. Y'all can. No, you
right
can find
now.
out.
Right now. You ready?
Right now?
Are you sure you ready?
I'm close here.
Are you sure you ready?
Ain't you be this, like I said, like you could I don't know, like as many as you want, and it's like if you want to sell you could do that, but it's like damn, in less than a minute with a 2-sentence conversation is wild. Like it's like I want better for you. I want better for you.
Now, I think this is definitely the kettle calling, whatever they're saying is the kettle calling something black. I don't know what they say, the black calling whatever they talking about, bro. Cardi B is technically saying she want better for the young lady that was in their previous video with JP, which they was doing the 20v1, which again is like embarrassment content and very low vibrational content that is taking the black community by storm, Lord Jesus. Because it's just technically just like they doing balloon pops, but mid balloon pop she's speaking to giving JP fellatio, and she like, oh, I could show you right now. Now what the man was talking about earlier in that video is like, you know, she doesn't want to be known as a certain type of lady, but yet you are doing that on camera, on YouTube, or knowing the video is going on YouTube when it's being filmed, and it's like, and your face is out there. It's not like you out there with a shiesty, or it's like mystery who's talking. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you are okay with the content being put out there. That's all I'm saying. And Cardi B telling her she should do better because it's a 20v1, I think is crazy, because Cardi, you put out certain type of music. You know what I'm saying? You put out sexualized music. And you have a, you know, you're making music. You're a Latina, you're Latina. And she might be Afro-Latina, but nonetheless, like, you make certain type of music and you want better for women, but these women are also a product of the generation that grew up more times than not hearing some of the songs you created. So at what point do you want people to do better when the society and the culture, which is crazy because Cardi B's daughter named Culture, but the world is pushing a certain type of narrative, and there's just societal pressures pushed on women as it pertains to sexualizing their bodies. So how do you want better when you're a part of essentially the problem? You're not the solution. You ain't making music about women covering up. It don't necessarily have to be like that playing, but you're not making music that is empowering women to do the opposite. So I just find that very crazy.
So whatever environment you allow to be around your kids, or whatever you allow them to watch on TV or on the internet or whatever, man, that's a lot of influence.
I said, my case got dismissed for a ruling that was made in the Ninth Circuit Court. 2 weeks later, the ruling gets vacated. Shaking my head. As soon as I celebrate the law, it's vacated. Get the F out of here. I got some powerful people who hate me with every bone in their body. I was sent to prison for 10 years for third marijuana for being a user. LOL, no rehab, no probation. Sent straight to prison. At this point, I need a pardon from whoever wins. At Vice President, which is Kamala, and at real Donald Trump. And I keep it all the way 1,000 with them. Because, hey, you gonna really probably need some help, dog. And that's not me being funny, but they is really going for the gusto for them. It can be done, that they can be beaten, but most definitely, the way that they is targeting him in this motion and how they came back with these charges after they just had this situation pass a few months before, Boosie got up under their skin. People feel like him going to the internet, celebrating on Instagram, taking shots at the prosecutors and things, him getting on the internet doing interviews about it as well. Man, I don't know. I stand on what I stand with that situation, but I ain't gonna lie, man. You might as well shoot the shot with the next president, because we have seen Donald Trump give artists pardons before. I don't know about how the Democratic side feels.
Again, and this just goes back to like the Julio Fulio incident, like the hypercriminalization within hip hop. He wasn't actively out trying to, do negative things. He was actually celebrating his birthday, or it was the day after his birthday, whatever, when he was shot and killed. But it was the people who tried to say that they were the opposition, which would be the artist Young and Ace, who made a song called Who I Smoke, and did countless interviews after that and had a big buzz from it. But also like Boosie, like, you live a certain lifestyle, you went to jail at first for certain things, and then from that, like, comes, like, certain consequences, even when he's saying it's like marijuana, like, he was in a place he knew he didn't need to have marijuana, but people they're gonna do what they do, but with that, he's already a felon, so they're looking to get you out of here, and I just don't think that it's always right. Like he said, he didn't had opportunity to go to rehab or do anything that would help his his situation, but again, we're in America, and that's just the cards that we're dealt as Black Americans. Like, they're always looking for a way to get us up out of here. So I feel like you gotta just play your cards right.
I don't know what's going on in my mind. I just take the thoughts and say them out my mouth, and then shit just be happening. Watch this clip. What is the likelihood that Future is not only a rapper, but a pharmaceutical rep? Future has been a pharmaceutical representative for codeine and promethazine and Xanax, and Adderalls and Percocets. I mean, now that we we all watch the clip. What is this? How do you explain this? What is more pharmaceutical representative than this shit? And then let's say what Suboxone does. Dog, I can't make this shit up. I can't make this shit up. Negro Damas. The thing is bro, like, first of all, y'all, all of this shit is a good thing. Because being blinded by celebrity, being blinded by adultery, and looking at these other human beings who are clearly compromised people. We ain't even talk about Diddy. It's just the whole thing is just compromised. All of these people are compromised. The money is a byproduct. Like, you know, we own you, some blood in, blood out type shit. Like, yeah, I mean, you can live your wildest dreams now. You can do as much drugs, you can have as much sex, you can drive any car, but when we call you and we need you to do something, it's gonna get done. Regardless of how you might feel about Dave Chappelle, go watch The Bird Revelation on Netflix.
Upbringing. Anything I did, the people I put myself around, was by choice. I don't think that's the same as a nigga running around pissing on graves. And basically, I wonder if the kids know that when they do that, they're asking for a short lease on life.
But hip hop is.
And
I don't like putting
this is not a hip hop talk for me. I don't like that Umar did that. I know they killed us about that, but for me, it's not hip hop.
No, but listen. So when we first started on the pod, right? The Fulio, the other dudes, who I smoke, and what's the other group? The one you just said,
Young and Ace.
Yeah. So if that is a trend that is going on with their demo in this particular type of music, and they getting traction from it. So for him, when he was digging up the thing, he had somebody filming him dig up the grave. And then they posting that shit. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna say blame it on hip hop. I'm just saying it's their culture in that youth. You know what I'm saying? Like they think that shit is cool.
It's not. But see, I don't put it personally. I don't put it on hip hop. I don't put that on hip hop. I put that
more on a social media thing.
Yes. It is a social media thing where the disrespect has to be quote unquote televised.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Because it gets a lot of views.
Exactly. These kids today are addicted to views, clicks, likes, and shit like that. Attention. So this is gonna get me the attention.
Now, with what Ice was saying from the Joe Budden podcast, and also Ish and Mel and Flip and Joe, they're saying it's not a hip hop thing, it's a social media thing, but hip hop artists in today's time, especially 2024, are having to publicize everything in the media so that it can be promoted, it can be public, it can be visible. Even if it's them doing disrespectful things like digging up people's graves or peeing on people's graves, or, you know what I'm saying, like whatever the case may be, because it's to, again, what I was speaking to earlier, stay true to an image that they feel is authentic to their artistry, the character that they created within within the space of hip hop and their genre, which is drill, because they're staying true. And drill is a runoff that came from trap music. Trap music came from gangster music, so on and so forth. So all of this authenticity is to show that, hey, I'm really from where I say I'm from. I really do what I say I do. And as much as they want to say it's not hip hop, like if hip hop champions something else outside of negative instances or actions, then what you see on social media wouldn't be negative stuff if that's what majority of the music that was coming from that genre was. Which again, like, as much as they don't want to put accountability on hip hop, there needs to be some accountability on hip hop, because there's artists who are older, you know what I'm saying, who are seasoned, who are mature, who are grown men pushing 50. Hip hop just had its 50th anniversary not too long ago, so it's like, you know, yeah, y'all don't want to put this on hip hop, but y'all want to put it on social media, but social media is a mirror within the medium of media, and it's gonna reflect whatever news or whatever is popular or trending or going on. So if, like he said, if that's their demo, but that's a genre that a lot of people are listening to, even if it's a subgroup of the whole totality of what hip hop is, and it isn't just hip hop, like drill music isn't just hip hop as a genre, it's a subgenre, but it's still a subgenre, and it still has a fan base, it still has people who like it still has fans. So if that's what they're doing it for people to see them, then, and even if artists like J. Cole tried to speak to Lil Pump or Lil Peep or somebody, and he was like, in a minute, like, you finna not even be here, you finna crash out or something. And they ended up doing it because they didn't want to listen. J. Cole tried to set up a session with Youngboy to speak to him. Youngboy's in jail. Like,
what going on, cuz? You know, just pondering a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You heard about Youngboy, right? Yeah. Yeah. They gonna get my dog, fool? I mean, I don't know, fool. They done gave bro 100 chances, bro. Well, they need to give him 101 more chances, bro. See, that's not how the system work, Big Joe. I mean, bro, it don't matter, bro. You gotta do better, fool. You know what I'm saying? But 10 years, bro. 10. Say 10. 10 years. But you gotta understand, bro. Trying to tell me to understand. Did you understand when the 49ers lost in the Super Bowl? Hey, bro, hey, watch your ass now. I ain't gotta watch man. See, bro, you too emotional in it, bro. You think this is a game, bro. Get out, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. See, you now I gotta get out. I'm just giving you the real, bro. This ain't no playing matter, bro. I know. Real talk, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I dip.
you can say all day it's not hip hop, but these artists are in the hip hop space. So at what point is there accountability taken? Because are you expecting social media to take accountability? Because that's what they showing on all these different platforms, because it gets, like you said, the likes, the clicks. I feel like there needs to be a conversation on both sides, but at the end of the day, social media is free. People gonna post what they gonna post, and what gets likes is the same thing that's attractive within media and has always been attractive, which is sex, violence, wealth or finances or having a lot of money. Like, it's the luxurious, lavish lifestyle, and those are other things that also have always been entertainment. That's what, even when you look at film, you have romance, you have podcasts talking about love and all this extra things, 50-50, balloon pop, whatever. You have action, which usually is some form of fighting or whatever, which can correlate to like the violence and stuff within music. And then you got like, films about like just storytelling, success. It's entertainment, you know what I'm saying? And music is entertainment, and they're gonna talk about the things that they know sell, because again, it's still a business, bro. And you don't want to blame it on this genre because it makes the genre look bad, but these kids are doing it for the likes and stuff in this social media space because they know what works. And even though it's bad, and I'm not putting it all on hip hop, a lot of that, like you said, you have a choice that you can make, and that's what Joe started off with. You have a choice, but at the end of the day, they're making a choice to be seen, and that's on the terms of what they feel that they're comfortable with doing to be seen.
If you master the art of cooking up and concocting delicious poison, and you know how to cook it up, then how to serve it to the people and serve it to the fan base that exists all around this country, what happens is they develop a taste for what actually contains a poisonous message, but because it's been force-fed to them and it's cooked so carefully with the flow, with the beat, with the hook, with the marketing machine behind it, now when you offer the people something different, they look at that like, that's nasty.
Right. Brother, what's that?
So, but that brings us to the next point within this hip-hop shift news report, and that's cultural appropriation in hip-hop and cultural vultures. So yeah, we're gonna get into that.
The creator.
Now, first, I'm gonna just keep it a book. I don't know who this white male is with this mortal shiesty mask on, or bank robber mask, whatever you want to call it. But first off, white people should not talk on hip hop because you're not black, you're not Latino, you're not of African Caribbean descent. We do not need white people talking about black artists, talking about black culture, or anything like that. That's just facts. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's not to say that they can't be a part of the culture if they work themselves within the culture, like Eminem or like Parks on Joe Budden podcast. He works within music, or you know what I'm saying, like, but or like Jeremy Heck, but he also again worked within the culture, worked on 106.1 in Cali with, you know what I'm saying, Just Incredible. He's on The Bigger Picture. He's like a hip hop journalist and does research. Like, that's different. But white kids sitting behind a mic with a shiesty, like, that comes off very, very much as like cultural appropriation, bro. And it doesn't give like you're being genuine, like a Mac Miller or Eminem or any of the other hip hop journalists I just said before. It just comes off as like you're trying to appropriate a culture to appease more to a certain demographic of people. Yeah, so I just had to get that out the way because like white people, specifically this white boy here, should not be speaking on anything from black culture dressed up like that. It just gives like you're trying too hard, cultural appropriation, and like you just don't have respect for like black culture, bro.
Just said this about Ian.
White kid, regular like Caucasian man, and he's like mocking Future and Gucci Mane like rap music. And like people are like, this shit hard. It's not even like satire. It's like, I'm just joking, I'm just mocking it. But I'm like, no, you can't do. And I hold rap music so close to my heart because this shit changed my life and everyone's life around me. And I'm a nerd about this shit. This is like weird.
Post Malone, right? Post Malone does an interview and he says, being called a culture vulture affected me. It made me do drugs and alcohol. I took it personal. Basically blaming black people for his drug addiction. No, you was faking, you was perpetrating. White Iverson wasn't who you were. You remember the black dude in White Iverson dabbing with him? Where's he? Who is he? Because he knew, I can't do this. I can't do the cultural appropriation if I don't got a nigga present. I gotta make myself seem like a part of this thing. And then I'm gonna go directly in the country. You're a culture vulture. Your dad, he works in the industry. Your dad put you on. Don't blame us for your drug addiction. You're a liar. When you live a lie, when you live a facade, and you have to keep up with lies all the time, you have to lie about your identity, eventually you're gonna crack because you're gonna forget who you are. Of course you're a drunk and a drug addict. Of course you were sponsored by Bud Light. That's what you was gonna be anyway. Don't blame that on hip hop. We knew what you was from the beginning. You should have came out doing country. Nobody would have called you a culture vulture. But when White Iverson blows up and you pivot directly to the white audience, directly in the country, yeah, you're a vulture. You was gonna be a drunk anyway. You was gonna be a J anyway. Niggas ain't make you do that. You did that.
All this entertainment, trending topics, what the people go click on and things of that nature. I understand that's gonna drive the platform. I understand that's what's gonna keep the lights on and keep you afloat. But at the same time, my real value ain't what a mother decide. My real value for me is the real message that pertains to my people when it comes to raising awareness, getting an understanding, and us being able to recognize who we are as a people and be able to identify our value and how we can move forward and how we can have some progression in this world and putting the right narrative out there with this platform about us as a people. They got all the way fucked. And I'm gonna control my narrative because my documented on YouTube. That's what I like about it. When it come to Vlad 22, Vlad Adam 22, Skip the Sidekick Bayless, these nothing more than nigga needers to me, man.
Okay, there was a time they tried to get Marky Mark. They tried to get Vanilla Ice off. This is the thing. Hip hop wasn't going for that. We're not going for mockeries. We're not going for Vanilla Ice, who is just the white version of MC Hammer. We're not going for Marky Mark, who, what is that? A racist? Look up his history. That guy's racist. I don't care how many movies he does with Kevin Hart. Dr. Dre found Eminem. Now, let's not take away from Eminem's first 2 albums, but on a corporate level, to see how white people sell in the hip hop space, Jimmy Iovine was probably like, find me another white rapper. So this is this idea of universal appeal, which is ties to white supremacy, which is what ATL was speaking on, the young white avatar. We're going to take the black talent and channel it through a white face, a white body. Ian doesn't talk like that to his grandma, guys. That little song he had with Lil Yachty was fine. It's fine. Shit can be hard and it still can be appropriation. Shit can be hard and it still be culture vulture. You need black capitalism in order for this shit to work. Lil Yachty is never gonna be as big in front of the mic as he is behind it. So now I'm gonna do the young white avatar thing. I'm gonna usher this white boy in because that's what black capitalism is. We're just gonna let it rock because this shit hard. That's how you lose shit. Oh, this shit hard. You gonna this shit hard your way into losing your entire culture.
Now, Deontay Kyle, this is from his podcast, Grits and Eggs. And I agree with pretty much everything he said on it. And to that, yeah, like, again, urban politicians was speaking facts, because like there are a lot of culture vultures. DJ Vlad, Skip the Sidekick Bayless, and Adam 22 oftentimes are looking to utilize black artists and or personalities to boost their virality and their visibility within the hip hop and media space, but not necessarily looking to help anybody from the black culture. They're looking to exploit people from the black culture.
Take care of this pussy. Hey, actually, hey, y'all too. Hey, take care of this pussy ass motherfucker. Oh, hey, Gracie, take care of this pussy ass.
Now, granted, I don't know who he was talking about, but why do you have to use the N-word in order to express yourself and you're white, and you know the historical racial trauma within America and that word and how it was used to define and condition people of African descent who were brought to America during slavery, chattel slavery to be exact, which was very traumatizing, insensitive. It broke up families. It has still traumatized black people to this day, mentally, emotionally, and physically, in the way that we interact with one another, as well as how we're seen in this world. Which brings me to my next point. What is up with the cooning in the industry? Why did Moneybagg Yo go out and make a song with Morgan Wallen? Is it because he wanted to be a coon? Is it because he wanted to break into the country space and be a coon? I'm not understanding what it is with him cooning it hard. Like, okay, if you want to break into the country space, it's not an issue with that. But why work with somebody who you know is out here using racial slurs towards your people? Now, that's not to say that every hip hop artist has to be, you know, a political hero and has to stand on the core values and origins of what hip hop was used for, with one of them being speaking to socioeconomic disparity and just the discrimination of minorities, and specifically blacks within America. But I'm sure they know that he was out there speaking how he was speaking, and I just find that crazy, bro. Now, if I'm gonna speak about one, I gotta speak about them all. Lil Durk, again, he made a song with Morgan Wallen, Stand By Me, and this is after 2021 again. And I'll actually show that this was after 2021. as you can see here, May 26, 2023. Both of them made songs with this man in 2023, last year. And it was, again, bro, like, that Moneybag song probably was 2024, but this was 2023. Why are y'all making songs with this man that you know he was out here saying racist stuff? Like, and this is what be the crazy thing to me. Like, these be the people who say they're the biggest steppers. They be all this, that, and the third. But will make music with racist white men and not call them out on none of the stuff they did. Like, what is that? And in all honesty, I just feel like Morgan Wallen did it because he knew he made that mistake, and so he doesn't want to lose his black crowd. And what are you gonna do to secure the rest of your African Americans, in the words of Donald Trump? Because essentially, I don't see a difference between Morgan Wallen and Donald Trump, outside of the fact that they want to exploit the black effect or the black liking or the black. It's like the fact that blacks have such a cultural pool that can allow you to use their likeness to obtain your white success. I do not understand why there's black artists giving white people opportunities to utilize them to gain more of a black following through their platform. That I do not understand. And it just makes me think about these people more as coons. And like, Lil Durk could go kill somebody who looked just like him, who's from a different organization and a block up from where he from, but you gonna coon out for the white man? Like, you just totally against your people, huh? You know what I'm saying? You gonna kill the people that look like you but happen to be from a different organization for your own reasons, and then you gonna go do a song with a man who out here using the N-word. Like, I don't get it. Now, international artists benefiting off of black culture. Now, when I say this, I mean black culture. When I say black culture, I mean black culture. I do not mean Africans that come to America and want to assimilate into black culture for the benefit of their own success in their musical careers or any ventures that they have, because they're coming to America and will be seen as a part of the black culture. They're using the black culture, but I'll get into it in this section as well. It came as a, excuse me. Now, of course, we talked about the music gains that came as a drop within the hip hop space. So other success was seen when it came to K-pop.
The black community has always been setting the trends, but people don't want to give them any of the credit. And you'll hear people say, but the gays, where do you think the gays got it from? Black women. I see a lot of non-black lesbians try to emulate masculinity by acting like a black guy. And on the flip side of things, you see a lot of non-black gay men try to act like black women. And the thing is, black people have been saying this time and time again, but people don't want to listen to them. And shit, while we're on this topic, isn't that how K-pop started? Like, Korea sent over a bunch of music executives to the United States just to study the 90s era of music and the popularity, which was heavily influenced by hip-hop culture and R&B. And they took all of those successful elements and then implemented it in their music. And boom, K-pop came about. And that's why you see a Korean guy with dreadlocks and cornrows. And people are like, no, they're not copying. Come on. Just to wrap it up, it's gone so much deeper than just copying at this point.
One of the top Afrobeats artists is Burna Boy, and he made a comment on somebody's live. Not really sure where they was at, but I did see the video clip, but I just put the picture up here just to cut to it. He said, if you don't know where you're from, how can you know where you're going? Now, this goes into a deeper topic, and I don't want to get too much in my Dr. Umar bag, but Africans that are from Africa, that grew up in Africa, because there's a difference, because we're black, we're African American, but we are essentially from America, even though we have African descent. Africans that are from Africa have a certain outlook on the black experience in America, which is why he made the statement, which is also why I have an issue with what he was saying, because that can be taken as insensitive, because you're saying, if you don't know where you're from, how can you know where you're going? As if we don't know through chattel slavery that we were taken from Africa. But that does not mean we don't know where we came from. I think it speaks more to the fact that Africans, again, don't understand the black history in America, but want to benefit from black monetary gain, or the Africans that have moved to America and that are fans of said artists, as far as like Burna Boy or Tyler or Wizkid. Now, Burna Boy also said this: it's sad to see that in 2023 there are still such black people who would prefer we stay divided and conquered. Maybe it's my accent or something, but I've never said you are African and not American. I also did not say Africa is part of heaven. You deserve all the land and reparations you want from America, and I'm 100% in support of that. Burna Boy also went on to say, every black person should remember that they were Africans before they became anything else. Burna Boy, I don't know if you ever learned about chattel slavery, but I'm imagining that you never heard of chattel slavery. I'm imagining that you never heard of the transatlantic slave trade, because you keep trying to tell us about who we are while you're not acknowledging where we've come from. Africa is not a minute part of the historical precedence of blacks in America, because it's the start of us becoming black people in America. But if you're not gonna do your due diligence to understand that most black Americans, especially the generations of today, the younger generation, are a bit removed from African culture because of the time and generations that have been born, grew up here, then I don't think you will ever really understand or be able to put out a message that will resonate with the blacks that are in America of African descent. Because you speak as if we should know where we come from, when most blacks in America have not had the privilege to travel outside of America. Again, you make money here, so you feel entitled to speak on our experience without understanding our experience, which again is an issue of Africans coming to America that don't understand the black experience in America. So, like, again, I think more Africans should take the time to understand the black experience in America if they care, because there has to be care. If they care about our experience, then there will be more understanding and comprehension as to why we are the way we are. And there won't be so much rhetoric or dialogue about remember where you come from, when we haven't had the privilege to go anywhere else or the finances to travel outside of America. And more times than not, the Africans that do come to America have the finances in their own country, which is Africa, or enough to get to America. And they're here because of the opportunity and resources in America. There has to be a want or a need for blacks to want to go to Africa. It has to be an opportunity presented, or it has to be some type of like thing set up to where it's saying, oh yeah, well, let me go over here. But a lot of blacks that have been here for generations haven't had the opportunity or haven't wanted to necessarily travel to Africa. again, Burna Boy has been in his head extending the olive branch. He said, all I've ever done is to try to make you understand that you have Africa that loves you too. Brothers and sisters is the only way forward for us black people worldwide. You work against the progress of our people if your goal is to keep us divided. I'm not sure who Burna Boy was talking to, but what I am sure about is that all people that are of African descent around the world do not identify as black. You have Black Britons, because on the actual, I don't want to say census because I'm from America, but whatever it is that they go over there and they have to identify with what they are, it says Black Britain, and then I think it might identify to like if you're African descent or Afro-Caribbean descent, but everybody does not identify with being black. It'll be like Afro-Latina, Afro-Caribbean. Everybody doesn't say I'm black. I think because he spent time in America and maybe because he understands black culture minusculely, he's saying we need to be together, but that also involves the other cultures of people of African descent not only understanding black culture and black people and wanting us to comprehend and understand their history as well, because there has to be understanding on both sides and comprehension on both sides so that we can better come together. But who is trying to keep us divided? Again, when Burna Boy be saying some of this stuff, I'm like, bro, if you don't understand that white male patriarchy, chattel slavery, amongst other oppressive European countries that came to America and benefited off the people here, off the backs of blacks, as well as other cultures like the Indians, like benefited from the oppression of the native and black people that was here. But you keep talking about us dividing when the division came from people who didn't look like us, similar to the colonization of Africa, which was colonized by Europeans and other countries, because it wasn't just all Europeans that colonized Africa. Like if you go look in Northern Africa and Morocco and all these, Northern African countries, they're Muslim because they were colonized by Muslim countries. Like, I just need people to be realistic, and I need him to go to a history course about Black American history, because I don't think he get it. He can't get it. Like, he can't understand. He hasn't comprehended, in my mind, by the statements that he made, because he's speaking on the people of the oppressed, dividing amongst the rest of the African diaspora when we didn't create the division or out of our own desires separate ourselves from the African continent in the first place, which just speaks to his level of comprehension. Yeah, this is just a quick history lesson. Chattel slavery is a system of slavery where enslaved people are considered legal property and are treated as such. The term chattel comes from medieval Latin Old French and is similar to the word cattle. Now, if you're familiar with chattel slavery, the first people that came across the waters and brought Africans were Portuguese. Cool. Christopher Columbus had slaves. I don't know why they teach that in American history and or culture, because they say Christopher Columbus sailed the blue in 1492 or whatever it was. But again, he had black people on that ship that funded his trip. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the French had slaves, hence Louisiana and Creole people, and other European countries, hence the British coming over here, and them going to the Afro-Caribbean islands and the Bahamas, and that's how black people are all over there, as well as other parts of the world, because they stopped there and they also came to America. So it's like, yeah, bro, again, just it's a lot, bro. And I just don't think that people are knowledgeable, bro. I do not think they're knowledgeable. I'm sorry, I have to just keep saying it, because they're not, and they be saying stuff and it don't be it don't be making sense. Like Burna Boy. Yeah. Chattel slavery was also practiced in the Roman Empire, Greece, medieval Egypt, sub-Saharan Africa, Brazil, which is why it's the second most African populated country outside of Africa. That's why it's 85% of African people in Brazil, because they stopped there as well. And then of course the United States and all of the parts of the Caribbean. I don't know why it says parts of the Caribbean. Of course this came from Google, but all of the parts of the Caribbean, you will find people of African descent. Chattel slavery was prevalent in the United States from its founding in 1776 until 1865. And it says primarily in the South, but if you go back and look at the actual regions that were within America where people were settled, slavery was everywhere, bro. It got abolished in some places earlier than others. Me being from Texas, it didn't get abolished here until June 19th, which is why we celebrate Juneteenth. And this was after emancipation. So again, bro, like, it has a grave impact on our culture here within America. And I think artists should do their research before they come trying to make money in America.
Me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not?
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too. I like when they talk from the back and say we can't. I like that. That's good. That's even better.
Next one, please.
That's even better.
Yo, stupid, yo. Wasn't that bad, was it? We ain't beat you up too much. No?
No. Yeah, I'm not. Are you awkward?
No.
I'm not awkward.
We friends don't think.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
They didn't want to ask. They didn't want us to ask about her not being on tour with Chris Brown anymore. They didn't want us to ask about the color thing.
Injury.
They didn't want us to ask about her injury that she sustained. What else was it? They didn't want to ask us about who she was dating, which I wouldn't do anyway. And what was the other one? It was one. So it was just all frivolous
And
stuff.
why? What are they trying to do? They're trying to protect an image that they're curating for her?
I have no idea, and that's why I said.
Oh, but the Rihanna thing. Prepare.
Oh yeah, and comparison, and it wasn't even Rihanna. It just said comparisons to other pop artists. Huh?
Oh, so they're trying to separate her from Kai Cenat. She's her own individual. Don't tie her to him.
And you want me to not ask her about Kai Cenat the day after Kevin Hart just was on Kai Cenat's show again with
Bringing
a
it
big
up.
ass sign that said "We friends" though?
Yeah.
Like, come on, yo. So I said to them, no.
Now, some people always try to call Charlemagne like obnoxious or inconsiderate, or he tries to pry at the guests that come on the Breakfast Club. But in reality, as you can see from his podcast, Brilliant Idiots, he is speaking to lack of comprehension of, again, African artists, which is Tyler, and she's coming into America because why? Because America is the #1 country and the #1 market for music and entertainment. So all artists want to be able to come to the States and tour. All artists want to be able to come over here and do appearances and do meetups and things of that nature because it benefits their career.
See a lot of UK people speaking about black American. The UK, Africans, Caribbeans, a lot of their talking points is black Americans don't have culture. What do you say to those people who say that?
That's a projection. We are the culture here. Our lineage goes back to this country longer than the lineage to their country because their countries are relatively new. Not just West Africa, all of Africa. Many of those countries were basically created in the 1800s at the Berlin Conference. They don't have a deep, rich culture. That's why a lot of them have to leave because of a lot lot of tribalism. They're not as deeply rooted as they're supposed to be. They do a lot of projecting onto us. Our culture is so deeply rooted here. Everything about American culture that is good comes from foundational Black Americans. True. The food, the dance, the slang, the sports, the entertainment, all of the music genres was created by foundational Black Americans. We are the culture. And they know this because if you go to their countries, they're acting like us. We're not acting like them.
The decline that you see in hip hop is our fault. We let hip hop become this, everybody gets in, everybody's got a chance, lowest common denominator, cheap throwaway. I recorded 50 songs last night. We didn't care for this thing. We didn't take care of the songwriting. We didn't take care of the music making. We didn't take care of the fan base. We didn't go out and put our best shows on the stage. We didn't get with the best songwriters to make the best songs. We just started making shit and throwing it out so we could grab a bunch of money. And when you do that and it just becomes a money grab, your shit becomes disposable. There's gonna come a time where it's only going to be the individuals who are the greatest who get to shine.